Eddie could never be confused in this world, but the fourth dimension is a mini splattered thing. Eddie, no, don't go through that screen. At the time, Max Hall and I owned a little hat store on High Street, and on Sunday we liked to sleep late and relax in the apartment we shared. But when the trouble started, our relaxing days were over. What, again? Yep, again. This makes the third time we've been robbed. I wonder who's at the bottom of it. This time we're going to stay awake and find out. The raids hadn't netted the thieves any big hauls. In fact, they didn't take anything of real value. Just odd items like a comb, a clock, things like that. That night, Max and I stayed awake and alert. See anything yet? Quiet. Suddenly in the darkness, a strange light began to flicker. It became larger until it took on the proportions of a movie screen. Then a kaleidoscope of shifting colors began to move across it. What in blazes is it? Gosh. Then the colors vanished and the screen was a glaring white. When we saw something come out of it, our eyes popped like saucers as the thing blended with the shadows. We couldn't make out what it was, but we could hear it rustling about. In fact, it was rustling Max's cigarette lighter, his fountain pen, and my new hat. That got my dander up. I heard Max yell as I leaped for the intruder. Eddie, don't! That thing might be dangerous! It heard me. It leaped like greased lightning. It leaped into the blazing screen with me, Eddie Michaels, right on its heels. Come back, you! Without giving it much thought, I flung myself into that white light in hot pursuit. Well, there was something on the other side, all right, but it wasn't anything I'd ever known. Even I looked different. Every time I moved, I changed shape, and the shapes I took startled me out of my wits. Experimenting with this ability to shift to all sorts of angles, curves, and circles, I managed to assume simpler forms to make exploring easier. What an amazing place! If I knew I'd land here, I'd never have died into that screen. Gosh, there's no up or down or sideways here. Wow. The place was really wild. I decided to make my way back to the screen again where the action started. What's that coming at me? I began to run, but whatever it was that was trying to trap me was out to head me off. Yow! I dodged like a broken field runner, trying to get through the whole Notre Dame team. This thing was throwing all sorts of fantastic shapes at me. Then it got after me in earnest. It's turned into a wheel, and it's really making speed. That wheel grew bigger as it got closer. Then it was almost on top of me. It was gigantic. Suddenly, the wheel broke up into a load of discs that fell on me like records on a needle. For a second, it looked that was as far as I was going to get. Then I saw the screen and made a leap for it. I came barreling through that screen, still hog-tied, but it was a girl clinging to me instead of those blasted discs. At that moment, the screen began to hiss and crackle and sputter, and then it blew itself out in a loud puff. The screen is gone. Oh my. When the girl told me she came from Mars, I believed her. When she told me she came to Earth through that fourth dimension, I believed that. But when she claimed to be in love with me, I said, "That's silly, we don't even know each other." "I know you. Your photograph was the first thing I took when I began raiding your place for souvenirs." "Then you were the burglar I chased into the fourth dimension." "Yes, you're as brave as well as handsome. That was a scary place for a newcomer. Things look so different there." "All those nutty shapes that were chasing me, they were you." "Yes, do I look better in the third dimension?" "I admit you look sensational." "You know, I can't go back to Mars. Not until they build another screen. What will I do?" "First, marry me. Second, return my new hat." "First, I will. Second, I can't. It's on Mars, in a museum for curiosities."